All right, so currently I didn't film the first half of this because I don't know why. This is my '69 Sport Wagon. I'm rebuilding the battery cables for it. They were all crunchy and ate up. I'm over here. All right, so this is my power. And down here on this end, it's crunchy. All right, I was having problems with it staying started. It looks like it was need to be cleaned up, done differently. And then here's the negative side of it. It's drastically smaller. And it too was also, all eat up. And probably well past time for a new one. So I went down to my welding supply store and this is a 6 foot long lead. I've already done one end. I just bent it over. I filled it with solder, stuffed the wire in there, and then put a slight crimp on it so it wouldn't come out. Once I figure out the length of it, I'm gonna go in here and put it in, cut it off. I'm gonna heat shrink this end, heat shrink the other end. I gotta run back to the store and get the heat shrink for it though. And then I'll go from there. For right now, I'm about to get underneath here, put it in, figure out how long it needs to be to right to this. Here's the other end of the terminal. And I'm going to measure it out, cut it, and then the rest of it will be the negative, which just goes from here to the back of the block, which is the same thing. I'm just do it again. I'm not gonna re-engineer it, the whole thing, even though it had a bunch of wires going to the starter, which was using the starter as a pickup point for all the power, which I rerouted it all over here, which will be fine until as I got to go loop underneath here. I pulled it all back. There's a bunch of wires that are no longer used. I had to cut them back to get them out of the way, just to get this thing up and going. Once I got it up and going and driving again, eventually this will be pulled out, or the motor will be pulled out, be cleaned up. The wiring will be redone to where it's more hidden in this engine bay, and this engine bay will be a lot more cleaned up. And those are the things I got to do to this engine bay. I'd like to make one of these out of aluminum. This is out of a Ford. It's out of a truck. My other radiator originally was in this when I bought the car, was aluminum, and it went bad. Started leaking in several different spots. And I just got another one of these out of a truck. I think it was a 5.3, and it's held up fine since. That's where I am right now. I'll turn this video off and then measure this out. All right, so I went ahead and measured this one out. This is the starter will come up to the battery, and this is going to be my ground. All right, they're fairly, bigger than my other ground. All right. Got really close, and that was my worn out old crunchy one. So basically what I did is I went over here to the vise. I stuck it in here like this. All right, just holding the tip of it up, and then tighten it down. And then I would turn the torch on, and I'd start feeding this in until it's all the way, pretty much about, really that far from the top. I already made sure that I had the end of the wire cut off, which was about this much of the wire. So I had that much of the wire showing out, which I already measured that to be that, I could only get in that far. So once the solder was hot, and I went ahead and just eased it in there, got it all the way in there, I let it sit until it was starting to cool. I undid the vise, pulled it out. I already had the heat shrink on there. I just slid, once it cooled down enough, I slid it up to where I wanted it to be, and then used the heat gun to, to shrink it up. Both sides. So about to go over here and install it in the car. And I got another one of these turbos here. So hopefully that'll help with the whole situation. And I'll get back whenever it's... All right, so I got the wires, the leads hooked up however I want them. I got them ran how I want them. Up underneath the battery tray. Try to keep it as much out of the way of the exhaust back there as possible. Here's the power wire going down and around the header back to the starter. So when I check the battery now, it's at a, I can't do it one-handed. Okay, 12:43. So I'm just have to take the boys to get a haircut, and then I'll come back and I'll check to see if it's drained down a little bit or if there's anything else, you know, see if it drained down really. And then from there, I'll try to crank it. Actually, I'll just try to crank it now. See if it'll crank up. And when I get back from cutting their hair, we'll see if see if no problem at all. That's not, holy cow. All right. All right, so I'll go take the boys, get their hair cut, and I'll come back, check to see what see if it's drained down any, and how well it cranks after that. All right, so set for, I think it was about an hour. So let's turn this back on. Try to do this one-handed again. Oh well, it went up 12.6. Huh, okay. Let's see how well it cranks this time. Usually it's first time wasn't the bad time, it was always the second time. It always seemed to give me problems. Number 2, here we go. I might have fixed it up. Hell yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully that was the end of my debacle of the car never, or wanting to stop and not wanting to run, crank up, take forever. Had to have been that crunchy wire. So, there you go. I don't know what else to say about it.